Hello and welcome to Maple Flavored Yoga. My name is Andy and this is a Yin Yoga class. If you like this class, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to leave me a comment, I would love to hear from you. You can also subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any new updates. I release new classes on Mondays. If you'd like to send me an email for any ideas or comments, or if there's a type of class you'd like to see me do in the future, you can email me at mapleflavoredyoga@gmail.com. Or if you follow me on Instagram at mapleflavoredyogi, feel free to send me a DM. So what is Yin Yoga? If you've never heard of it, don't panic. It is a really lovely practice. It's very beginner friendly. So with Yin Yoga, it is literally the yin to the yang. So our lives are very active, go, go, go. That is the yang energy. And with Yin, we are trying to cultivate stillness. So we're trying to get that balance between the really active portion of our lives and creating some stillness and some calming to create harmony between the two. Yin Yoga is based around lengthening and strengthening our connective tissues and our fascia, so our tendons, our ligaments, all of those other portions of our bodies besides our muscles, and sometimes even in our bones. So what we're trying to do is create strong, healthy connective tissue so that our joints can be nice and stable for us. When we're practicing Yin, we want to be more cooled, our body to be cooled. So it's best to be practiced early in the morning or maybe right before bed. If you're trying to do Yin after a really active vinyasa class, let's say, you're going to be sending that energy more into your muscles. And as I mentioned, we're trying to focus on the connective tissues of our bodies to allow those connective tissues to lengthen to their full potential so that we can have great range of motion in our joints. In Yin Yoga, we are going to be coming into these poses and holding them for a length of time. In this class, we're going to be holding each pose from anywhere from 1 to 3 minutes, give or take. As always, you can always come out of the pose if it's feeling really uncomfortable. If you're feeling any pain, I want you to back out of the pose. And then you can come into a child's pose or any other position that feels comfortable for you. This is one of the reasons why I really like Yin Yoga for new practitioners, because it allows you the time to get into the pose, see how it feels, and you have time to explore the pose. Sometimes, I know when I first started in some yoga classes, I felt like I was always trying to catch up because I would just get into a pose and then we're moving on to the next. So this is a really nice way to move through these poses and explore them on a physical level, an energetic level, and an emotional level. Like, what is really happening? It allows you the time to become the observer when you're in these positions. So the aim of Yin is not necessarily how deep we're going to get into the poses. It's the amount of time and the length that we can hold the pose. So when we're getting into these poses, we don't want to push right to the maximum edge of the sensation. We want to allow that space for our body to naturally lengthen. And then maybe we can move deeper, but that's not a requirement. That's not the goal, to move as deep as possible into these positions. So with that being said, let's get down to business. We'll come to our seat. If you'd like to close your eyes. I would like to send my gratitude to the creators and cultivators of yoga with roots in South Asia, along with the Taoist beliefs that were created in China. These two belief systems have come together to create this beautiful yin practice that we will get to experience today. Feel your breath, the coolness of the inhale, and the warmth of the exhale. During our practice today, we will need to utilize our breath to move through some uncomfortable sensations that may arise. And our breath also links us to the here and the now. You can feel the mat below you. Really tap into breathing deep into your belly now, in and out through your nose. If your eyes were closed, you can blink them open. Take in the room that's around you. Still connecting with your breath. From here, we're going to swing our feet to the side. We're going to come into an ankle stretch. So we're going to put our feet flat on the floor. We're going to be stretching the tops of our feet. So maybe this is where you're feeling that sensation. You don't need to go any deeper. If your feet are feeling a lot of sensation here, just stay here. If you feel like you're prepared to go a little bit deeper, you can bring your hands behind you and squeezing your thighs together, just tip your knees up and you'll feel the tops of your feet illuminate. Again, at any time you can come out of this pose. You don't have to hold it for the full minute. So we'll stay here for another 45 seconds. Tap into your breath. Allow sensations to rise. And without changing them, just simply observe for whatever they are. Slowly bring your knees back to the floor and feel whatever sensation you're feeling or sensations you're feeling. If you'd like to wiggle your feet a little bit to kind of move that energy around. So now that we've stretched the tops of our feet, we're going to stretch the arches and the bottoms of our feet. So we're going to tuck our toes. And again, maybe this is where you're going to stay. So wherever you start to feel that intensity of the stretch is where you'll hang out. If you want, you can sit up onto your heels. Again, really tapping into that belly breath. We'll hold this for, again, another 45 seconds. But at any time, if you want to come out of these poses, go for it. Come into any pose that feels good for you. we'll slowly move out of that. Whew. That is a lot. Feels good though. Okay. So with yin, there are different names for some of the poses as well. So I'll try and use a regular hatha name with the yin name. So the first one we're going to come into is dragon pose, which is similar to a lizard pose in a hatha class. So we're going to step our left foot forward, and we're going to bring our right knee back to the floor. We want to make sure that our knee is behind or stacked above our ankle. We don't want it to be too forward. And you can bring your hands to the inside here, or if you want to come up and hands on hips, your back foot can be flat. So take a few minutes and adjust. And if you find that this pose, whatever pose you start off, and if it starts to feel really intense, you can always back out of it to still hold that shape. We don't want to be moving back and forth, but you can adjust when you're in these poses. So don't think you have to be stuck in that position because that's the one you started out with. So you can hold this pose. We're going to be here for about 3 minutes, and I know that seems like a long time, but this is the time for our connective tissue to regain its full length. Use your breath here. If you, after a few breaths or a minute or so, if you feel like your body has released and has created more space, you can come down onto your forearms as well. But no need to get there. Again, it's not about how deep we're going, it's about how long we can hold this shape. Check to see if you start to transfer tension from one part of your body to another. So see if you start to clench your jaw. Make sure that your belly is still nice and soft. Check your glutes, maybe you're holding tension there. Also your shoulders, if they start creeping up towards your ears, try and allow some softness to come here. We have 1 more minute left. Almost there. And you can release. We're going to tuck our back toes, swing our left leg back, and we're going to come into a quick downward dog here. You can pedal your feet. moving that prana or chi, as it's called in yin. That energy, life force energy that we've just released from our joints. We're going to come back down with our knees on the floor. We're going to step our right foot up and come into dragon pose on the right side. So get into your pose, take your time to get there. And as I said, feel free to adjust while you're in this pose. We are looking for stillness here, but if you're feeling too much discomfort, you can back out of the pose. If your body naturally opens, you can take advantage of that and move into that new space that's been created. So another 3 minutes. Even while we're in these poses, try and keep your gaze on one spot. If you're looking around frantically, it typically means that you are allowing your thoughts to take you away from the moment. And even though this moment might feel a little uncomfortable, it's necessary, because when we allow ourselves to fully feel the sensations that we're feeling, even when they aren't necessarily pleasant, it means that that sensation or whatever that is being digested and then released. So if you're always distracted, you can't really process what has happened or what is happening, because you're kind of preoccupied, you're somewhere else. Check to see if you're transferring tension. Make any adjustments required. 1 minute left. I often close my eyes in yin poses. It allows me to observe what's happening within. And it helps keep me focused. Slowly come out of this, taking your time, being very gently with yourself. Again, we'll tuck our toes and come back into downward dog, allowing a few petals of our feet to move that chi around. That feels okay. We'll bring our knees back to the mat, swing them out to the side. We're going to come into square pose. So we'll take our right leg and we want to have it parallel to the front of our mat. And then we'll take our left leg and try to stack it right on top of the other. I'll come this way so you can kind of see. If this is really uncomfortable for you, we all have different flexibility, and that's cool. So don't think you're not doing it right. Maybe coming into a cross-legged position is where you're at today. Our flexibility changes day by day, so this might be a better variation for you, especially if your knees are coming really high up. We want to have them we're trying to have it so that our knees or our shins are stacked one on top of the other. This is called square. If you find that your knees are really lifting off the floor, you can put some pillows or blankets or something underneath just to help cushion underneath of those joints. So if you're feeling a lot of sensation here, you can stay here. If you want, you can begin to walk your hands forward. And depending where you're at, if you'd like to keep coming farther down, if that's where your flexibility is, by all means, go and find your edge, play with your edges here. So we'll hold this for 3 minutes once again. Using your breath here. Make adjustments as required. If your eyes are closed, see how tightly you're closing them. I know I'm bad for that. If I close my eyes, all of a sudden once I start my body scan, I'll notice that my eyes are clenched really tight. So we want to soften as much as possible. I know it's difficult, but observe what bubbles up. One more minute. It's rare now in our day-to-day lives where 3 minutes feels like an eternity, but if you want to appreciate time, do some yin. Don't forget your breath. A few more breaths here, almost there. Slowly come out of this pose. Feel that rush energy. And from here, we're gonna windshield our wipers, windshield wiper our legs from side to side, taking great care. Move as slowly as feels good for your body right now. All right. Also, if there's any other movement that your body's asking you to take, listen. So if your body's saying, I'm not ready to go into this next pose yet, I want to do this instead, allow your body that consideration. So we're going to come into this square pose on the other side. So left leg is on the mat, right leg is on top. So again, listen to yourself here. And once you're kind of set up, you can begin to move into where you would like to, or not where you would like to go, where your body is saying, okay, yeah, that's cool. You could go here. Make adjustments. Connect to your breath. And we'll hold. Yin is a really wonderful time because it is a practice of stillness. And how often do we give ourselves time to be still? And Yin is a perfect example of how much work is done when you're being still. We have this idea that in order to be productive, we have to always be moving, but again, sit in stillness in a Yin class where you're not moving, or you're not moving much, and you'll really have an appreciation for how much work is done in these moments. Check to see if you're holding. Invite softness into the pose. And if you're thinking, that's impossible, I've been there. It's okay. If there is no softness in your pose, if your body's just not willing to, not that it's not willing to, just that if that's not where you're at today, I've had those days, though all of our experiences are different. Allow it to be whatever it is. Almost there. Begin to come out of this pose, again, being very generous with yourself. Move slowly. Another reason why we want to move slowly here is so again, we can fully experience the sensations, witness the sensations that we're feeling. And windshield wiper, our legs. We want to experience these sensations because that means they're being digested and released properly, even though it might not feel really great. Undesirable things happen in life all the time, as we know. So the ability to stay in these moments that we don't typically want to be in creates a resiliency in our lives. So our next pose is going to be frog pose. This can be a very intense pose. It is definitely, for me, it's not my favorite pose. So with this, you have the option of maybe just coming back into almost like a child's pose with your feet together and your legs apart and coming down as far or as not far. Again, it's very much based on your comfort level and your flexibility, and only you are the one that can determine that. So if this is a position that you're feeling a lot of sensation in your inner thighs, then that's where you will stay. If you want, not if you want, but if it feels okay-ish to come down, we want to bring our legs, I'll go this way again to show you, bringing our legs far apart. Our feet are coming straight down from our knees, ideally, and pointing out to the sides. You can stay here with your hands flat, arms straight, or if it feels comfortable, you can, you can come down onto your forearms. And with this, we're going to allow gravity to kind of take our hips, allowing this deep hip opener. And again, we'll be here for 3 minutes. I hope you guys still like me after this. It is a challenge, but it is worth it, I promise. It's very normal. After the first few breaths, you're like, oh, this isn't so bad. And maybe after 10, 20, 30 seconds, there is sometimes, I don't know if it's like a fear response, or you just have to kind of coax your body into letting it know that it is okay. This is something that is being done intentionally. So to come out of this pose, we will take our hands below us, and then I pull my chest forward and then kind of walk my hands forward to the point where I can move my knees together to get them underneath of me. I'll come into a child's pose here. Give yourself a wiggle if that feels good. You can stack your hands and bring your forehead down if that also feels all right. And we'll sit here just for a couple breaths, allowing our bodies to digest those sensations. They're probably, or anything like what mine's going on, it's pretty intense. So again, moving very slowly and mindfully. We're gonna come into a dragonfly pose or a straddle pose. So you can come to the side of your mat if this feels better for you, so you have a bit more cushion. If your feet are on a hard floor, you can always grab some towels or blankets or something to put underneath of your heels, because we are going to be sitting in this pose for, again, another 3 minutes. So take a few moments and get yourself situated, bringing your legs out. Again, it doesn't matter how wide. Oh my God. Oh my God. Hi, Dr. Claw. This is Dr. Claw, who likes to scare the crap out of me occasionally. Oh my goodness. I live alone, so I was like, what is happening? Okay, hi, doctor. With that being said, it doesn't matter how wide or narrow your legs are, as long as you're feeling the sensation on the inner parts of your legs. So maybe you're sitting straight up. If you feel, hi doctor, like you want to start to come forward, you can keep your arms straight and just lean forward if that feels good. Again, if it's available to you and it feels comfortable in your body, you can come right down to your forearms. But again, we want to leave some space for our body to open up. We don't want to, again, push right to the max. That's not the maximum edge. That's not the purpose of this type of yoga, or any yoga in my opinion. So settle in here. We'll be here for another 2.5 minutes or so. Connecting to your breath. Inviting stillness. If your eyes are open, see if you're moving your eyes around a lot. Try and focus on one point. Steady your gaze there. Again, if at any time you're like, I don't want to be in this pose anymore, you can come out of it, adjust as necessary. Few more breaths here. And slowly begin to move out of this pose. If you want to use your hands to assist bringing your legs in, you can do that. Again, we'll bring our feet to the floor and we'll windshield wiper from side to side. Excuse me, Dr. Claw. That gave me quite the start. The joys of pets, right? Hey. Okay. From here, we are going to, here, I'll move this way. We're going to come onto our backs. So we want to grab the backs of your thighs and roll back slowly. Once we reach the floor on our backs, we are going to bring our feet up in the air, and then bending our knees, we want to move our thighs so that they're kind of on the outsides or pointing to the outsides of our body. Our goal is to try and keep our back flat on the floor. We don't want it to be curling up too much. So maybe you're grabbing the backs of your thighs. Maybe you're grabbing your shins to pull down. We're pulling down, directly down to the floor. Or if it's available to you, you can grab the sides of your feet. And again, pulling straight down, having a nice flat back. We'll stay here we'll do 2 minutes. Finding stillness. Allowing your shoulders to relax. Breathing into your belly. We have just over a minute left. Check your jaw. See if you're clenching your teeth. If your eyes are closed, make sure it's a nice, soft eye closing. Just a few more breaths. We're almost there. Release your feet or your shins or your thighs, and we'll bring our knees together. Rock back and forth here. Maybe do some circles with your knees. And make sure you go the opposite way. We always want to do things both ways on both sides. From here, we're going to come into a twist, so you can bring your arms into a cactus shape, or if you want your arms outstretched in a big T shape, that feels really good too. We're going to drop our knees to the left. Coming into this nice twist here. You can have your gaze to the ceiling, or you can look over your right shoulder. Inhale, we'll come back to center. And then drop our knees to the right, looking straight up or over our left shoulder. Allowing ourselves to just be relaxed in this pose. Inhale, we'll come back to center once again. We're going to get ready for Shavasana. So if you want to put a blanket on or some socks on, Some people like to put pillows or a bolster or yoga blocks, anything underneath of their knees in this pose. So come into this pose however you wish, whatever feels good, and then just drop in. So if you'd like to pause the video and have a longer Shavasana, I fully encourage you to do so. But if you feel like you're ready, you can invite some movement back into your fingers and your toes. Give yourself a great big stretch like you do in the morning. And then you can roll to whichever side feels comfortable. And take a moment or two there. Slowly make your way back to seated. With your eyes closed or a soft gaze. Once again, turn your gaze inward and see what sensations are happening in your body, what emotions you're experiencing without any need to change what's happening. And bring our hands to heart center, bowing our heads. I want to thank you for allowing me to assist in your yoga practice. No matter where this life takes you, know that you are seen, you are loved, and you are divine. Take care.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to Maple Flavored Yoga.